Okay, no criticism, folks. So I gotta tune this up a little bit with a grinder, but other than that, it's nice. It was a crazy day when we poured it. We were still digging out roots the last minute, and we dug too low. We dug 6 to 8 inches in the main area, and it ended up costing me because I used 2,400 pounds of cement. So that was a big boo-boo, but that's the first slab I've poured since I'm a kid. So moving on. So they took some, whatever this is, stucco or whatever, and they made like some type of watershed, to keep the water from draining next to the foundation. But it's real nasty looking, and I want this to be nice. So my first attempt was I wanted to just try to cut a line and then form an inch or two off of it. I wanted to cut it back to like the depth of the conduit, let's say 4 inches. And I started cutting it back up here, and everything started falling apart. I was using a 4-inch diamond wheel. Where is it? It's on the grinder. But it just all falling apart. So, but I noticed some of the cement actually goes all the way down. And the cement, it's like butter. It's like, I don't know, it's almost like stucco. It's very soft. Pain in the ass because there is the deep spot over here. So that means I'm going to have to fill that back in. I'm maybe going to try cutting this and see where that goes. But I think if I want to rebuild that, like something 6 inches out, I'm better off to break it all up and then just form it. And I could come 6, 8, whatever, and I could do it clean. And then I could make it over here, match up with the slab, and then, it comes up a little bit. I could see if it's needed to come up. I could come up a little bit if I have to go across, and always if I have to dip back down. But it all depends what's going on here, because I don't want to disturb that too much. So even if I bust it off and just leave a little bit around the conduit or ground and then form around it, hopefully I'll be at the right height. If not, I'll mix the mud stiff and work my way up and then back down a little bit. This definitely is the high point here, so maybe I'll probably leave it that way, leave this the high point. But I gotta worry about the sprink line in the ground. The cable lines over here, they added another ground and they put stucco over it going up to that faucet. So that's an additional ground. I want to make sure. I might probably leave that exposed so it's visible. Maybe just chase the wall with it right above the cement. So this way people can see the ground. And the cable was supposed to cut across. That's that orange flag over there. So the cable originally ran across here somewhere and then shot out. But I noticed when we got here that cable was originally connected, but we had trees back here. So I just tried another cable in the box up front, and that brought everything online, so to say. But that cable is run across the ground. So what I'm gonna do is, there's the original cable, the conduit, right? So there's a couple cables coming up there. So one's probably this whole cable that goes here, and one's those two. I don't even know. Maybe yeah. Anyway, the idea is I'll lay some PVC in the ground. Like over here, the low voltage wiring was on top of the soil or an inch or two into it. I put the conduit. Now it's just sticking up out of the ground, like at this angle, because you can bend it. But That's just an old piece I stabbed in there into a new piece. So I'll remove that, get that in the ground. That's 24 volts. That just goes to lighting. People direct bury those cords all the time, but I'm gonna do it clean. I'll run that conduit nice and up over here, so this way everything is done nice. But yeah, I got a lot of work, and then I plan on, so this is nice, except I gotta take out a couple trowel marks. It was difficult using a 2-bag cement mixer, staying ahead of this, even with 2 of us mixing it and rolling it down. This started to get real stiff right off the bat. I mean, we were only at the door, but that's because there's so much cement under there. There's good 8 inches all the way past the door. So yeah, I didn't do a good job of floating this, but that's all right. It just needs a little tune up with the grinder. I'll clean up the edges, and then I'll do a little repair there, because the slab's super duper strong. So, and it came out nice. I covered it with dirt, but all the edges, there's no divots. It all filled in nice because I worked the edges pretty good. So I did a lot of good stuff doing it, but because it stiffened up, and then after the cement mix was done, my buddy was out, so I had to float it. I still had a high spot here, but it was already pretty hard to work with by the time I got down to here. So yeah, I forgot, you know, when you're mixing things separately, it's way different than when you got a big mixer, because when you got a big mixer and you can mix 4 or 5 bags, 6 bags, you could actually have the whole thing pretty much wet and fully poured, you know, and then you can work the whole thing. And I didn't have a bull float. So anyway, it's way better than it was, which was like out here, a mud pit right here. So if you washed out the pool, you had a little mud pit going on. So that is over, and now I'll just work this. I'm not going to kill myself, but I'm just going to keep on chipping this away. The idea maybe is to get this cement out of the way, get some of the gravel raked back today, and maybe go pick up the PVC for the low voltage stuff, and then I'll go from there. And then I'll start laying, I'll trench that out first, because that'll be 6 or 8 down. And my steps, which I'm going to do steps here. So I'm going to do a step about maybe 13 inches in. People saying 12, but I'm going to go like 13 plus a 22 by 28 and about 8 of them. And then a nice square pad at the end, which will end at the gate post. So there'll be no cement right in front of that gate post, maybe. And it'll go all the way to the house over there. And then a nice little formed, I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know if it would be called like a watershed or what. But anyway, nice little 8-inch formed shed here, which will be higher than grade. And I just want to be inside the spring pipes. If I'm inside the spring pipes, it works out perfect. Anybody wants to redo spring pipes, they can dig them up. The same with the low voltage. So the low voltage, I'm gonna turn them here so it's all in the open.